book of Genesis, chapter 47, beginning at verse 13. And it reads, And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. Verse 14, And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. Verse 15, the point. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. I'm going to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Elohim La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Thumb. Double honors to the elders and to the apostles of the great millstone who do teach and rule well. I want to say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwath out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israel. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's the brother Yahweh. I'm coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. This lesson is in regards to, I forgot who was talking about it. Oh, I watched this economist named Johnny Bravo. And, he might be juiced in, but at the same time, like, he be out there speaking and spewing on about the elites and yada, yada, yada. All that to say this, what I noticed from all the economists, because they so carnal, that's why it was kind of ingenious how Satan, pretty much said, give me control of a nation's money and I care not who makes their laws, because eventually, the money's going to rule, eventually you're going to be paying the people that make the laws, and saying all to say this, what people don't understand, the world economies are all intertwined, they all, pretty much are interdependent on one another. So, although our economy is not the way it should be, it is, what proves what I'm saying is the fact, that's a spirit, so get us started. What proves what I'm saying is the fact that when it was like a drop in the market over in China, I believe. And then I think that was when I was still working at that other job. I think it was like that Black Monday. And I was following some economists that kept on predicting it. So, you know what I mean? Just showing you how the keepers of the house truly, they watching the spiritual or the financial welfare and well-being of this place, And they said it was going to be like, I forgot the one guy I watched, can't think of his name, but his channel Sales Daddy, because he got a business channel and then he got a channel where he calls himself going to the scriptures, but he be going off. But, the elder I know watched it because he had one of his videos up. Long story short, it's just spiritual how brothers be like watching the same thing, but ain't even met each other, But long story short, to show you how we dealing with one spirit. But I'm rambling, Salakia. The world has a world economy, so what affects one nation will eventually affect another, and it's going to be really like that once they bring in this one world system, which they've been, I forgot who was speaking on it. Pretty much they've been, I think it was the elder Yashawamba, but pretty much they've been, setting this up since the 40s. This NWO hasn't just started within the 2000s. It's been going on, you know what I mean? But said all to say this, pretty much the money failing over in the land of Moab, or what you would call China. I thought I had it, Salakia. And it's going to eventually fail here, because again, all the money is interconnected. And ultimately, the bankers want a complete, total, one system of control. It makes me think of what's that? J.R.R. Tolkien, the guy that wrote Lord of the Rings. Yeah. When you go into that, say one ring to rule them all, one ring to bind them, one ring to break them all in the darkness. Well, I think it's in the darkness behind them. But long story short, and that's like I think like they trying to cover up their roots and whatnot. Like I think that dude was, uh, you know, in a secret society because I used to have a lot of information about a lot of different shit. You know what I mean? It'd be like some people will perceive it as left handed. To a degree, it is left handed. You know what I mean? It wasn't about the Lord's righteousness, but at the same time, the Lord creates both the evil and the good. He has two sides, the left and the right. So long story short, I had some information about because I think a lot of those like the guy that wrote C.S. Lewis that wrote the Narnia series. That's why you had the lion that was the king and all that. I think he was a Freemason. You're gonna be surprised just like with this whole Diddy thing. Like they talk about Shaquille being brought out now. But that's all to distract the people. You know what I mean? Esau desperate. You know what I mean? Anyway, long story short, you know, banks are failing in China, or the biblical nationality is the Moabites, the land of Moab, and eventually that's going to affect America, Babylon the Great, because you got banks closing and folding here, you got businesses closing and folding here. The banks pretty much are insolvent. So when the money felleth, because at the end of the day, they got this scheme where they believe in they gonna shock the whole world and crash all the markets in the world, and that they'll have enough of a buffer financially where they'll be able to control everything. And you got different nations that's all in cahoots. Certain people, individuals for different nations, all in cahoots with this. Like the elder was bringing out how that guy Zelensky pretty much is selling out his people, which you can see that nigga's a devil. You know what I mean? But there's many devils. The scriptures talk about there's many antichrists. Anybody's that's not with the truth of the scriptures is an antichrist. So I'm gonna read the title. I'm not trying to make this that long. It says the daily. The daily the daily hold. It says news and insight for the digital economy. Ain't that something? I don't even know that. It says banks are collapsing at an unprecedented rate in China due to a major downturn in the country's property market, poor risk controls, and other issues. In the week ending on the week ending June 24th, 40 smaller banks were sucked up by a larger institution, a vanishing act incomparable even to the savings and loan crisis of the 1980s and 90s, reports the Economist. I was looking for the name of that because that actually shows the Phoenix on the cover, and they had a cover with Donald Trump. This is a elites publication. That's how the elites talk to themselves through different movies, through different symbols, through different magazines and whatnot. That's why you see certain individuals in the media throwing up their the hand symbols and whatnot to show that they still down for the cause, because the elites speak through symbols. And most of the masses, like right now, the guy Donut, he's talking about the mimic magic, which is symbolism. But anyhow, Salakia, not to digress, it says the report tracks roughly 3,800 lenders in the rural China that holds a whopping 7.5 trillion assets, or 13% of the entire banking system, that are starting to bleed out due to an overstock of bad loans. And that's the same thing going on with Babylon the Great. That's why they're talking about we're in a housing bubble, you know. So, because the whole world's economy is fucked up, especially right now with war going on. But the thing is, war is, what they say, the elites make their most money off of war, because they fund both sides. Then all them weapons that's sold and all that other shit. So, yeah, it says 36 of the 40 failed institutions were all absorbed into one giant lender, Liaoning Rural Commercial Bank, which was set up by regulators in September to manage bad banks. And if I'm not mistaken, they're saying that this one is failing or failed. Because like I said, I got the information that inspired me through the spirit through watching the guy Johnny Bravo. And like I said, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not about to look it up now because I only probably got like 10 more minutes to do the video. Pretty much, I think that one's failing. I'm gonna look it up and I might like try to add a video post production. Well, no, well, give the people something to do. Go, don't just listen to me. What I mean? Whoever's listening, you gotta get involved. You know what I mean? Like, this is your spirit and your soul on the line. You know what I mean? Your spirit should be amped up checking these things out. Don't just take my word for it. Go check it out. And I may be wrong. You know what I mean? But I go through so much information in the day. But yeah, like I say again, you know, beeping at me or saying shalom on the video, I mean, which is all great and all, you know what I mean? Like, that's beautiful that y'all supporting the brother, but y'all got to get more involved because, like I said again, if you watching the videos and you talking about fire lessons and all that, you got to also get out on the highways and hedges. You got to get active. You know, the elder always speaks on the fact that, the book of Acts is basically the book of actions. You know, Yahweh Shai was basically taken back to sit at the right side of the Heavenly Father, Abanawa Yahweh, and pretty much the apostles got into action mode and they pushed. You can think about the ministry, man. Because like I said, if you can't see what's about to happen, and this is beautiful either way it go, because the prophecy is going to be pushed. Either way it go. I mean, like, everybody thinking it's all secure. They talking about Donald Trump won, but they still got to count certain votes. But at the end of the day, even if Donald Trump win by a landslide, like what I've read, it said that he won the majority of the electoral votes. If he pretty much was involved in an insurrection, the 14th Amendment says he cannot rule. So that's going to piss a lot of individuals off. I got a video sitting in the cut. I'm waiting on talk about the Proud Boys. They talking about the Proud Boys was pretty much surveying the polling stations. So yeah, I mean, and like I said, when I was homeless, I remember they had military. They said it was retired, but who's to say who the fuck these people was? But they was riding around the city, and I'll never forget that. Because at that time, if you got caught on a bus or certain areas downtown where they were going to be speaking at, you had to show ID, and I had a warrant. So I would have to walk over the bridge. I had to do all this different shit. You know what I'm saying? And, it was a misdemeanor warrant, but nonetheless, I had a warrant. And I was able to survive, through all of that. Like, I remember when they was doing the Operation Jade Helm and they was flying the military planes and shit. Like, all this is not by happenstance and coincidence. All this is like one step leading up to another step to another step. Come on, they talking about they got the White House fenced off right now. What do you think that is? To keep you niggas out. And I talk about not just the ones that y'all call these black ass niggas, but you Edomite niggas too. So that's enough of the lesson. I mean, of that article. At the end of the day, what happens to one country affects another and pretty much the whole global economy because they all intertwine. So this is the book of Revelations. And when you got things like that, that's why you have inflation, which soon hyperinflation is going to kick in. Because I was listening to the one guy, again, he got a channel called Sales Daddy, and he said we're going to have, I listened to like 3 or 4 of them, and all of them saying hyperinflation going to kick in, but some more optimistic than others, but they all got this ray of hope that the money situation going to, right itself back up because of the fact they believe in the monetary system of, this is how money works. But what they don't realize, unless they set up, if they don't realize, they don't realize the fact that pretty much the elites want to bring in a whole new system. So they're going to let this bitch burn and like the phoenix rise from the ashes with a whole totally different system meant to break you and give them complete power and control. This is the book of Revelation chapter 6 and verse 6, and it reads, "And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and wine." So when you go to that word penny, it's the word denarius in the Greek, which means it pretty much breaks down to the day's wage for a Roman soldier at that time. So pretty much, and we know what wheat is, so pretty much it's going into like, bread is going to be so expensive, it's going to take a day's wage. And you can see that to a degree now. Like, food has been expensive for the last, 2-3 years, since they printed that money for real. And what people don't see is they literally cash it out of Babylon the Great. That's what this is. You ever seen somebody a fire sale? That's what the fuck they doing. They about to print this bitch out until it hyperinflates, because as you already in inflation, they talking about printing more money. You print more money, what's going to happen? I can't remember what camp that brother was from. I think he was from Arkansas. That brother say, shit, all you going to have is your righteousness. You know what I mean? The way he said it, it was so powerful. I was like, damn. The one brother that rap, I think his name is Rai. But he said something that was so powerful. I was like, damn. But it says, pretty much the bread is gonna be, it's gonna cost you a day's wage to buy food. like I said, the food already expensive. So just imagine when hyperinflation kicks in. And it says, see thou hurt not the oil and wine, which goes into this knowledge and this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the truth. You know, that's why it's so important to bring out the scriptures. I was listening to the brothers from LA, and they was going into pretty much, like what's that, Ezekiel chapter 3, being a watchman. You got to come out with the correct breakdowns and whatnot, because otherwise the Lord is going to judge you. This truth is deadly serious, and you've had individuals come in that took it lightly, and if the Lord dealing, he might like pop you in the back of your neck, let you know like, oh, this ain't a game. But the Lord could be lightweight terrible too. Like, I mean, I was listening to the brothers in Chicago. They were saying, the Lord bring a person in knowing that they're not of the truth, just to mark them, to judge them. It's been many of mighty men that brothers was talking about. Oh, that man was powerful, that brother was mighty, and then the Lord, bug them out, or have them lead the truth, or kick them out the truth. And that's a scary thing. But I'm of the belief, like I say, because things, we in this wicked ass flesh, men, leave caps for whatever reasons, but if you leave the truth, that's what's the thing. Like right now, the spirit I'm noticing it, because the elder Ariella in Dallas did a video talking about, fight mode, we in fight mode, and the mission. And then the brother from Virginia, the Virgin Islands, doing a video about the mission, And so I got to watch that. But then the brother in the camp, the brother Yabakan, he did his page is called Finish the Mission. It's all about the mission and finish it, no matter how the results went, which the results matter. I mean, the results is what matter, but how you got to the end result matters as well. Because there's certain things that you're supposed to do in this truth. Being brotherly, being charitable, pretty much break it down, being brotherly and loving your brother and your neighbor and all that, the thing is, what's the scariest about, I realize about this truth, the Lord is going to hold you on everything you said, because we pretty much made oaths. We said we believe all this, So you held accountable to it. It's the book of, I didn't even know I had that many scriptures pulled up. Oh, God. This is the book of Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1. And it reads, I hope I can get this out real quick. It's Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1. And it reads, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. And what's a tower? Where are we getting, where are we watching from? We watching from our phones, these laptops, whatever, we watching from the news. We watching from what we see in our day-to-day lives. I was watching a brother video. He had a 5-minute video. He said he just met a guy that had a C-hip at his job. And I was like, damn, you know what I mean? So, that's very spiritual, you know what I mean? Because we talk about these things, but we're pretty much about to start seeing these things. You got brothers that's probably been in, well, not probably, you got brothers that's been in the truth, that's probably been around, those ones that we speaking on, the left hand, this left hand priesthood, either, what you would call the illuminated ones. I guarantee you have. Maybe some didn't know it and some have. So, I mean, like this cell phone we use, that's like our watchtower, but, this just is walking this truth. Because we the scriptures talk about, like I said, Ezekiel chapter 3 said, pretty much you're a watchman, a seer. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Verse 2, and the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. The prophecies. So when we see things in our day-to-day that line up with the scriptures, we supposed to break them down to the people. And you ain't got to be all elaborate and use big words, but big words do capture the minds and attention of people. Like the elder was going into the power behind the words. I know Paul said it. I know it's one in, I'm thinking like 1 Corinthians, I want to say 4, and it's one in like 1 Thessalonians. But the elder's so powerful, he made mention of it. So I'm waiting for him to bring it out. He stopped and go back to making his video. He don't even bring out the word. The elderman Watazak, like 2 days later, bring out the word. I say, God damn, that's the spirit. Call Loyam like Yahweh Shemel. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that read of it. Verse 3, for the vision, mentioned, meaning the prophecy, is yet for appointed time, because it's going to happen when the Lord says it's going to happen. But at the end, it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And like, to make me think about like the longshoremen strike, because I'm warning everybody. I think they heard too many people talking about it. Like, oh no, we ain't gonna do it right now. But yet, still, that little time it was doing it, they did it. It still affected shit. Because like I said, like last week, a week before, I went into like I was shopping my neighborhood Aldi's. I shop at Aldi's a lot, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I buy like the same little shit. You know, I go to meat market here. I go to certain places, but Aldi's is like my run-to staple grocery store because it's cheap. You know what I mean? Like, fuck y'all talking about brand name shit, and then the brand name shit ain't even at the same quality that it was when I was growing up. You know, my kids don't really eat cereal; they eat more fruit. Like they knew I didn't buy really like sweet cereal. You know what I mean? Like I just recently did buy some, like, but they really like eat fruits and shit. You know what I mean? And raisin bread and you know blueberry muffins and shit like that. So long story short, but I went up in there and that bitch was like, we're dead. And they like, well, no, because we thinking that bitch about to shut down or something. They like, no, we just ain't got supply yet. And it made me question, like, yeah, but you just had that longshoreman strike, and it might have not affected it immediately, but that shit affects stuff. I think they was down for like 3 or 4 days. Well, 3 or 4 days, shit can spoil in 3 or 4 days. Because a lot of the food you get, by the time you take it home, like especially that fruit, it's spoiling within like a day or two. So although that prophecy didn't come to pass as far as the famine, you know, it stopped, but it can start up at any time. Verse 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desires hell, and as his death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And who is that talking about? Esau Edom. You know, he's a covetous man, you know. But in verse 4 it says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. And who is the just? Jacob, you know. And it's gonna come down, boil down to we might have to give up everything, and the only thing you're gonna hold on to is your faith. Like that brother Rahab said. He said, your righteousness, he said, like, it was been a minute ago, this was years ago. It's like Chicago and Cleveland. Basically, Chicago let a lot of brother Midwest states come out there. I think we was doing Passover. And, you know, so I don't remember the exact words. But he said something powerful, and I was like, damn, you know, because at the end of the day, you might have to give up your whole family and everything and just rely on your faith that the Lord, you know, like the scriptures that we read, and you got to really envision and believe that. Because like I said, those that haven't counted the cost at the last end, like the Lord might have like sheltered you from a lot of bullshit while you watching your brothers and Jake go through shit. And then he, at that day Jacob's trouble, just hit you with everything. The bitch leave. I'm not calling it, you know what I mean? But, you know, some of these women is bitches. You know what I mean? Like Jake will be sitting up there putting on the front and go home and have a whole demon at the house. And Jake just ain't telling brother. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what Jake going through. That's why it's off when Jake just assumes shit. You know what I'm saying? Verse 6, Salaki. I mean, me and yeah, we supposed to take certain shit in. And, you know, some brothers, you know, more talkative. Some brothers don't speak that much. But at the same time, like, Jake tend to assume shit. You know what I mean? Jake might be over there dying inside, thinking all demons plaguing his mind, all kind of shit. You know what I mean? As brotherly as brothers is, huh? Brother won't even ask you how your day going. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that clay goes into the word of batya, and that word pretty much breaks down the heavy debts. And the dollar bill is a debt note, you know. So, you know, this money is about to crash, and that's why you're seeing everything so motherfucking expensive. And eventually that's going to bring, you know, the collapse of the economy, which, you know, going back to Genesis chapter 47 and verse 15, the money fell, and ultimately Jacob's trouble, because there's multiple ways Jacob's trouble can come. But I'm seeing the Lord come in all different kind of ways, like Psalms 119. What's that? 129 would say it's time for the Most High to work because they have made void thy law. The Lord got a whole smorgasbord of, you know, just plagues for this fucked up ass place known as Babylon the Great. This is the book of Matthew chapter, and I'm gonna just get the point. Verse 21, and it reads, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And we can see the time moving by fast. I mean, I'm talking about election day already passed. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna look up and it's gonna be damn near December. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of your power, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem, double honors to the elders, to the apostles of the great millstone who do teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, not more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aquat out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly this was edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, and subscribing to the truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom, Kwam Yasharallah, Mawath Lababal, shalom.